Hey, what's going on, guys? Tre'Leon Bay here. Today we're talking about negotiating with motivated sellers. Alright, now when it comes down to negotiating with motivated sellers, it's funny because I feel like it's simple, maybe because I've been doing it for a while, but when you're dealing with motivated sellers, your number one thing you want to do is find out their motivation. What is their deep motivation for wanting to sell this property, for needing to sell this property, or even if they're looking to hold on to it, what's their motivation for not selling the property? When you find out those key triggers, that's when you'll be able to actually know what solves their problem at that point. All right, so finding the motivation of a motivated seller takes a little bit of digging. All right, you have to ask some key questions. Sometimes you have to ask multiple questions and really dig down deep to figure out what it is that's motivating this seller to be able to sell the property. And it's usually not what we assume it to be. It may not be because the house is in bad condition. It may not be because they're no longer, interested in actually holding on to the property. It may not be just because they got it inherited from someone and they're looking to sell it. You really have to figure out what is the deep motivation for why they need to sell right now. Because when you figure out why they need to sell right now, you can agitate around that issue. As soon as you find them backing up or having some reserves about actually selling it after you've gotten through to them, you'll figure out what is it that I can agitate around as far as what is their need to sell the property. Maybe they're, at a situation where they want to move closer to their kid, right, in another state. Or maybe you're in a situation where they have to change jobs and their job is changing, within a month. Like those key information is really, really needed, and that's not something that sellers are just going to tell you right off the bat. You have to start asking them questions, and then when you ask them a question, follow it with another question, and then follow it with another question and another question to be able to really dig deep enough so you can figure out that ding, 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 like, oh, that's the button that if I push that button right there, that's where their motivation is at. That's what's going to get them to take action and actually sell their property. And then you have to also figure out what is the best situation for their house and for their situation. And so what I find is a lot of times when it comes down to wholesalers, they're usually what we like to call a one-trick pony. They're coming in there and they're like, how can I get this property at the lowest price possible? Even when it's your real estate agent, and real estate agents are coming in there talking to the sellers, they're usually thinking, how can I be able to get this property on contract to sell as fast as possible? What do I gotta promise them? Do I gotta promise them the world and I have no idea whether or not I'll be able to come through? Usually real estate agents are just spitting game to be able to get that property on contract to be able to sell. All right, now what I do is I actually go in there to the seller and I figure out their motivation and their problem first, and then I help them to be able to solve their problem by giving them multiple solutions. And so I like using creative strategies, whether or not that's wholesaling, lease options, seller financing, wraparound mortgages, or even if it comes down to it and their best option is to be able to list it with an agent, then that would be their best option. But I like to prepare them for that. And I like to tell them, like, hey, if you list for the agent, days on market in your neighborhood is around this time. This time frame. Are you prepared to hold that house for another 6 to 9 months? As far as you selling that property, are you prepared to pay the 6% average, real estate fees to those agents? Are you prepared to pay the closing costs, which is about 3%? Are you prepared to do the holding costs of the house and still pay for the utilities and the mortgages that you still have on this house if you have a mortgage? Are you prepared to do the, if the buyer actually wants you to fix extra things in the house, do you have reserve for that? If the buyer doesn't get approved for their financing when you thought they was, are you prepared to actually hold it even longer? And so when you put it in that way to sellers and they think like, you know what, I really don't want to go through all of that of selling with an agent, and I'm not prepared for all of those things. Agents didn't tell me all of that. Then they look at me like, you know what, you're actually upfront with me. You're actually real and transparent when it comes down to doing those things, and agents aren't going to be transparent when it comes down to the real net to seller. A lot of times I can negotiate with the seller and I can say, after all of those fees are done and all of that time and stress and stuff like that, you're making what, $8,000 more than what I'm offering you in cash? And I start breaking the numbers down to the seller so they can see with their own eyes that after all the stress, after the longer time frame, after all the fees that you're going to be paying, after all the holding costs, let's break all those numbers down, not just your sales price on what you're going to be listing it for, That's not realistic. That's not what's going to be in your pocket. What's going to be in your pocket is around this amount. Now, I'm giving you a cash offer for around this amount. This is a little difference here. Are you willing to spend another 6 months to make another 8K, another 10K, or whatever that number may be of the difference of my cash offer versus you listing it with a real estate agent? I'm ready to buy right now. I'm ready to be able to buy your property where you can just go and relax somewhere. Your property is already sold. You and your wife can go to an island or something, sit back and chill, and don't even have to worry about this house no more right now, versus you having to put it on the market and then wish and hope and think that your house will be sold, that it'll be sold for the price that you want, and that you won't have to eventually come down on the price because it depends on what the buyer is ready to buy, right? You have a sure thing right now. Or if it comes down to me negotiating with them on a lease option, it's like, hey, when it comes down to the lease option, you can sell it on a market, on an open market, and you can take 6 to 9 months, or you can do a lease option and you can have some cash flow coming in for those 9 to 12 months to 2 years, and then you can sell it for your retail price that you want without any commissions, without any holding costs and things like that, without any maintenance of the property that you tired of being a landlord and you don't want to deal with it anymore and deal with the headaches of being a landlord. I'm taking all of that away for you, right? I'm dealing with all of those things. You're just going to have to relax, just receive a check every month, and I'm going to take care of those things for you. All right, so when it comes down to negotiating with the sellers, you definitely want to be able to first find their deep motivation, ask enough questions and questions on top of questions and questions on top of questions, and dig deep enough so that you can find their motivation. And then when you find their motivation, then you want to be able to figure out what's the best solution to their situation and to their house. If the house isn't in move-in ready condition, then no, you're not going to be able to offer them a lease option. All right, because it's too distressed. They're not going to be able to have somebody move right in. If it's too distressed, you're not going to be able to find a retail buyer that's usually that agents go out and find if your house is in bad condition, or even if it's not in perfect condition. Sometimes retail buyers aren't willing to get a mortgage and then still put money into the house to fix it up the way that they want it. Retail buyers usually coming in there after they're with their agent and they want this house to be perfect. They want to be able to find something with the house that stands out, that makes it unique, already updated to the T. That's usually what retail buyers want. They don't want to come into a house and say, oh, this is mediocre, but I can fix this and I can change this and I can do this. That's not what retail buyers want. And so that's what I explain to sellers. Like, you have a retail buyer that can buy your house, you have a tenant buyer that can buy your house, or you have an investor cash buyer that can buy your house. You only have 3 options. Let's figure out which one is best for your house and your situation. All right, so that's some secrets right there, guys, on how I negotiate on deals and how I'm usually able to get in there and talk to the seller and get a deal, regardless of whether or not they got an agent or whether they was thinking about getting an agent, regardless of whether 40 other investors was giving them a call. That's how I'm able to get in there, talk to a seller, and then get the deal regardless of competition. So that's the secret, guys. Hopefully you learned something from that. And I see you guys later. If you want to be able to partner with me on deals, if you want to be able to take our real estate course that helps you to separate yourself from other investors, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I already got you. Click one of the links below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.